Welcome! Today we're going to talk about this awesome 2022 Tesla Model 3 Performance, the highest performance version of the Model 3 that you can buy. Pretty much every Tesla ever made has been pretty fast. I have a paltry, 2019 Standard Range Plus, so that's a rear-wheel drive, only one electric motor. But mine still does 0 to 60 in a little over 5 seconds, and that's pretty fast. The thing with electric cars is, unlike a gas engine that needs to rev and maybe downshift to give you the optimum performance, electric motors, they give you the power pretty much instantly. You have instant throttle response. We'll take this thing for a quick drive around the block and I'll show you momentarily. But first we'll do a little walk around, an overview of this Model 3 Performance. So the Model 3 Performance just doesn't have one electric motor in the back like my Standard Range Plus. It has two. It has a motor in the back and a motor in the front, making it all-wheel drive. So it does great in wet, slippery weather, it does good in the snow, but it also makes it really fast. 0 to 60, a little over 3 seconds, top speed, close to 160 miles an hour. And also with the Sport package, you get a larger wheel and tire package, a little bit lower suspension, larger brakes. You get these nice aluminum pedals. You get the Uber turbine wheels. And also, if we go to pedals and steering, we also have a track mode. I'm not going to put it in track mode when we drive it on the street because I think it disables the traction control. This thing makes probably between 450 and 500 horsepower, so you don't want to disable the traction control unless you really know what you're doing. So it's plenty fast just in sport mode, so we'll leave that alone. You have this amazing screen. All the functionality is pretty much in this screen, keeping the interior nice and clean. Some people ridicule the Tesla Model 3 and Y for having a sparse interior. I like it. It's like a sensory deprivation chamber. It's very nice and serene. It's a great place to hang out. It's almost like an extension of your living space. In fact, last weekend, my wife needed a little break for the kids. She said she was going to go to the store, but she just ended up sitting in our Tesla for about an hour in the driveway. She was on her phone listening to music. And we're in one of our gas cars, she'd kind of feel guilty about idling the engine. You're not idling the engine. The car's plugged into her house, so she could sit there for an hour, have the AC or heat on, listen to music, watch Netflix, and have a little peace and quiet. And just how nice it is and how sparse the interior it is, you don't feel like you're sitting in a regular car. Generally, you have more space inside a Model 3 than a comparable gas car. So, like I said, it's like an extension of your living space. It's actually a really pleasant place to be. I find myself, if I have to do any errands for the dealership, I often take a Tesla. And a big reason for that is the great ADAS, which is Advanced Driver's Assistance Systems. This has autopilot, which I'll show you a little bit more too when we take it for a ride. So you have this nice synthetic leather interior. You can't get real leather in Teslas anymore. These seats are very comfortable and supportive at 0G, so there's no pressure points in your back. You have these nice big glass roof panels to allow lots of natural light inside. You can also get inserts, so if it's really bright out, these insert sunshades can help cut down on the heat of the sun. I have those for mine. You can buy them in the Tesla store. It's like $170 from Tesla. There's also aftermarket ones. We've seen some upgrades. So in 2021, 2022, we've seen probably the most upgrades we've seen on the Model 3 since it came out. In 2021, the center console was redesigned, a little bit better style. Definitely nicer than mine. We have this nice wireless charging pad. The wood trim now extends to the doors. We have a power operated trunk. We now have a heated steering wheel. We have a heat pump. Just like in your house, a heat pump makes the Model 3 a lot more efficient for heating and cooling the interior. So that helps it make it more efficient in cold and hot weather. And it actually helped also extend the range. Range on the, you pay a little bit of a price for the performance versus the regular long range all-wheel drive Model 3. So the range in the Performance Model 3 is not as good as the regular long range, but it's still over 300 miles. And with Tesla's amazing supercharging network, they actually just commemorated their 50,000th supercharger. And the majority of the superchargers are in the United States. You can actually hit this lightning bolt right here, and it will show you all the superchargers. And it'll show you which ones are available. So you can see that this supercharger in Tacoma, it looks like they're all full. This one looks like it has 6 open. And you can find out information about the rates, what they charge. So like it's right now, this one's 41 cents a kilowatt. This is 34 cents a kilowatt. So this is 50 cents. So it all depends on electricity rates, the usage of the supercharger. Obviously, the cheapest way to charge is from your house. You know, that's the best way, but having that supercharging network is a big deal. And this has an amazing trip planner. I know people who buy EVs, first-time EV owners, we get a little range anxiety, but we have 173 miles of range. What if we want to drive to Spokane, 233 miles? Well, Tesla's trip planner will figure out the whole trip for you. It'll figure out where to charge, how long to charge for. So we'll charge in Cleolum for 15 minutes, then we'll charge in Moses Lake for 15 minutes. So we'll arrive in Spokane with 9% range left. You can, you know, top off your charging there at your destination. So it's fairly easy. And Tesla's trip planner is very, very accurate. It takes into consideration tire pressure, outside temperature, elevation, so it can very accurately determine how much range you'll have when you make it to your destination. So that pretty much takes away all the range anxiety. Fantastic parking cameras, and all these cameras around this vehicle also benefit you from a lot of ways. We have Sentry mode, so when this car is parked, you can activate the Sentry mode. I have it off right now because these are sitting in the lot. I don't know if I'm plugged in, and the Sentry mode does set power. But when you have Sentry mode on, it's recording. So if someone keys your car or bumps into it at the grocery store, it will record it. You'll have proof. So people catch people keying their cars or damaging them, trying to get away, and they find they see them on the camera, and a lot of times they catch them. Also, these cameras work while you're driving. Here's a video of me kicking a weirdo off our lot, and I had a feeling if this guy gives me a hard time, I want to have video of it, so I know if I'm driving my Tesla, he'll record him. So I drove up to kick him out on the lot. Of course, we had him on camera. Luckily, he left. Well, it took a little bit of encouragement, as you can see, but finally he left. So much to talk about. Let's keep this video rolling along. So some people ridicule having all the functionality in this touchscreen. Well, that's not a big deal because it's infinitely configurable. If you have hard buttons and knobs, those are there forever, but this is like your iPhone. Tesla's constantly giving over their updates, so it's improving, gaining features. The Model 3 was out for years, and one day it got an update, and then all of a sudden you have blind spot cameras. They add games, they add TikTok, Disney Plus. They're always adding features, improving the autopilot software, improving safety. It's amazing, and I don't see anybody else doing over-the-air updates at the pace of Tesla. It seems like every couple months there's new updates coming out, making this vehicle get better. So this is a vehicle that, even though it gets older, in a lot of ways it gets better. And there's 150 different voice commands, so you can, wipers on. So there's 150 different voice commands, so you don't really need to look down off the road and mess with this screen. All those people that review Teslas and say you have to mess with this screen, obviously they don't know them that well. You can look and not be distracted and just hit this button right here and do voice commands and make a lot of changes to the Tesla without looking off the road and being distracted and having to dig into menus. All right. Another thing we saw roll out, I think it was right around 2021 on the Model 3, is a Tesla glass. So if you look here, this is a double pane glass. There's a sound deadening material sandwiched in between. This is proprietary. As Tesla glass is very quiet, and it's also very, very strong. It makes the vehicle, it's already very quiet, but this Tesla glass makes it even quieter. This one has a nice tinted windows. These are the Uber turbine wheels. Looks absolutely beautiful. We have the performance suspension, so it's a little bit lower, a little bit more of a stance. You can see we have the larger brake calipers. All right, the Model 3 styling has really grown on me. It's kind of simplistic wedge-like styling. I really have grown to like it a lot. Also in 2021, we've also saw the lights getting upgraded. Now we have a projector headlights. And look at this, no engine here. This is extra storage. It's also a safety feature because you have all this space here to absorb crash energy in a frontal collision. So you have a crumple zone 60% larger than a conventional gas car. The Model 3 is considered to be one of the safest vehicles on the road. In fact, when the NHTSA crash tested the Model 3, by every single metric, it's the safest vehicle they ever tested. The lowest probability of injury in a vehicle accident out of any other vehicle you can buy in the United States is a Tesla Model 3. So there, I mean, if safety is important for you and your family, I mean, that's one big reason right there, besides all the other ones to buy a Model 3, is it's the safest vehicle on the road. People used to buy those hideous boxy Volvos because they were safe. They're like, I don't care, it looks like a box. It's the safest car on the road. Well, this is not boxy by any means, and it's a lot faster than most other Volvos I've driven. All right, we also have a power operated trunk, which was new for 2021, benefiting this 2022 model of the Model 3 Performance. We have a large trunk, a lot larger than a conventional gas-powered vehicle because we're not hampered by exhaust, transmission prop shafts, emission control system, gas tanks. The way an electric car is built is a lot different, so we have more space. And look at that, even more space down in there. More storage in there. Also, with the Model 3 Performance, we have this really nice carbon fiber spoiler. All right, more importantly, let's get behind the wheel and take it out for a spin. All right, here we are. We're taking this Model 3 Performance out for a spin, a little spin around the block. Very familiar place, obviously, for me to be. It's not exactly the same, but very similar to my 2019 Model 3. I've had my Model 3 for about a year. After being exposed to so many Teslas here at our store, we sell a lot of pre-owned Teslas. I just couldn't help myself, and I ended up buying one myself for the family. And don't get me wrong, I love gas cars. I have gas cars myself. I have an Infiniti, but I am very impressed by Teslas. And for daily commuting, you really can't beat the efficiency and savings you get from an EV, especially a Tesla. Not only are you going to save on gas with an electric vehicle, you're also going to save on maintenance. With far less moving parts, there's not too much to maintain on a Tesla. If you're comparing this to other vehicles, gas-powered vehicles, a lot of people, buying a Tesla like this in this price range, the new, they're like a little over $50,000. So you're probably comparing this to BMWs and Mercedes and Lexuses. Well, sometimes going to the Lexus or Mercedes service department can be quite expensive. But on a Tesla, really the only maintenance is, the tires. Obviously you're gonna have to replace tires, air filters and wiper blades. Tesla has mobile service, so a lot of times, like if I need wiper blades or air filter, a new cabin filter, I just do it on my app. They come to the store, they come to the dealership. We have them come to the dealership all the time, not just to work on my Tesla, but also to work on our Teslas in our account. And yeah, they just replace it right there. You just message them, they get in the car, they do it. You don't even have to go out there and meet them. And it's not that expensive. I think it's like $64 for a new cabin filter on the Model 3, $64 for new wiper blades. Where it seems like everywhere else is trying to get you to go to the service department where they're upselling you, trying to get you to do the brake flush every 10,000 miles. All you need to do an all-wheel drive differential service. You need to do a 60K service, a 90K service, brake flush. Tesla seems like they do everything they can to keep you out of the service department, especially having the mobile service. So that's really nice. The autopilot is traffic aware cruise control. A lot of people ask for full self-driving. I was actually just doing a video the other day on a Model S Plaid with full self-driving. My Model 3 has full self-driving. It's fantastic, but I can tell you, it's not for everyone. Full self-driving is still very much in beta, so it can do crazy and wild stuff. It can be herky-jerky, so it's not polished to the point where you can not pay attention, go on the phone, be distracted, take a nap. You need to keep your hand on the wheel and pay attention. So it's not for everyone. Regular autopilot works great, and it works on roads like this. Watch this. Boom, the autopilot's on. This car is driving itself. There are limitations to autopilot. It can work on regular roads like this, but see, we have a stop sign coming up right here. It's not gonna stop for the stop sign. I have to stop it myself. It's not gonna stop for red lights, but in stop and go traffic, it will come to a complete stop if there's vehicles stopping in front of me. So in stop and go traffic or on a nice country road, you can get going for a long time on autopilot. All right, we got a green light. Wow, nice cornering. Boom, whoa. Oh yeah, this thing just takes right off. You have instantaneous throttle response. Even, if we're driving a high performance, car with a gas engine, even if you slam on the throttle, like if I was gonna slam on the throttle right now on a high performance gas powered car, there'd be a momentary pause where the car has to think, okay, it's gonna downshift into the appropriate gear. The engine might have to rev to its power band, but with an electric vehicle, with this Model 3 Performance, as soon as I hit the throttle, it's just instantaneous throttle response. Watch. You just take off instantly. There is no gas car that has throttle response comparable to what you get in this Model 3 Performance. This is a different level of performance in a vehicle. It's something else. And then we put the autopilot on and then we're cruising along. This is great. Okay, I'm gonna shut it off now because we're gonna take a right up here. All right, and we'll mess with the autopilot a little bit more. So I'm gonna put it on again. And then, yeah, it's doing pretty good on this road. So autopilot, how do you shut it off? There's a number of ways. You can put your foot in the brake. That shuts it off. To put it on, you press down on this stalk right here twice. Use this scroll wheel right here to adjust your speed. And you can push it to the left and right to control your following distance. But here's some curves right here where a lot of other ADAS systems would have a hard time staying in this lane. The autopilot does a really good job. So there are, you know, limitations to autopilot, but you get it going on a road like this, you can get a lot of mileage, and this is what we call a nag. So it's telling me to jiggle the wheel a little bit just to show I'm paying attention. If I didn't respond to that nag, it would deactivate the software and would not allow me to use the autopilot till the next driving session. There's also a sensor right here that you can squeeze in this wheel, in the wheel, or you can kind of mess with these little scroll wheels here, and that will also show the car that I'm paying attention. There's a camera right here, so if you're getting distracted, if you start messing around with the screen too much, it can see, and it will also give you the nag just to show you're paying attention. So Tesla is doing everything it can to make sure people are paying attention and not abusing the system, which I think is a wise idea. But you get it pointed on a road like this, boom, it's on. And it does a pretty good job following the curves on the road. It's not going to take tight hairpin corners or limitations, but it works great. And the auto steer is not going to overpower you. You can take control by just grabbing the wheel too. See, I just popped it out of auto steer. But remember, me taking control of the wheel, the adaptive cruise control is still on. So you either hit the brake or push up on the stalk to fully deactivate the system. And then, twice to do it. And sometimes it can get a little bit temperamental. It's kind of like, you know, you just got to get comfortable with it. And sometimes people have too tight of a grip on the wheel and it will disengage the auto steer. You just have to get comfortable with it. And you know, it's not for everyone. Like my wife loves driving the Tesla. She doesn't drive it as much as me, but she doesn't use autopilot. She doesn't use full self-driving. She's a control freak. She's just happy to drive herself. But maybe one day she'll use it. So like I said, some of these systems aren't for everybody. For me, I love them. I'm so spoiled by them. I would have a hard time driving a car any distance without them. I like driving, but I like driving on beautiful, curvy, scenic roads. I don't like driving on the highway or in stop and go traffic. So having these systems to take the workload off me makes a world of difference. Well, we're almost back at the dealership, so that sums up the fun in this Model 3 Performance. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon, and have a wonderful day.